Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we are going to be doing a great technique and a beautiful resist, except we're going to be using paste today. I feel like I haven't done this technique in a really long time and the results are absolutely beautiful, but one of the absolute pro things about this, one of the pros is that your blending can be pretty much anything and still look fabulous. So I have some colours of Simon Hurley's dye inks here. I just have a yellow, the shooting star, the orange is Guppy. The pink is going to be Prom Queen, which is a beautiful bright pink. Then I have blue as the Clear Skies, and the purple is Crown Me. As usual, I will have all of these supplies linked in the description box down below in case you'd like to check them out or just have a look at the specific colours or a specific item of anything. They are always linked down below. Then I came in first of all with sort of a lighter layer of this, and you're going to see here I'm coming in much heavier with the ink, and this is because of the technique. I decided to sort of change gears halfway through, I guess. And so we will end up doing a little bit of colour removal just to get a little bit more contrast going on. So then I'm going to go pink, purple, then blue. And because I was going to do blue, except for then the blue and the pink would make purple. So I remembered I probably need to do the purple first. Now the blend between these colours is just, nothing fabulous, and that's what I like about this technique, is that you really don't have to have perfection, and still I think this is a beautiful card in the end. Now I'm going to pick a couple of stencils. I wanted to pick one, but I was having a whole lot of trouble. The one here on the left, the lace one, is called Lace by Tim Holtz, and then this one here is the Brush Hex, which I also really love, except for I was having trouble choosing one. Now I love that sort of cracked one there on the right as well, and for a minute I thought I might layer them up. Now this is the usual modelling paste that I use, which would be opaque and is white. This one here is the transparent texture paste. Now that's the one I want to use. Mine is old. Mine is really old. I don't often use the transparent texture paste. I usually colour my opaque texture paste or modelling paste or whatever you have, but another thing that would work perfect is the matte medium glue. You could also put that on. It's going to create pretty much the exact same outcome. But waste not, want not. I figured I may as well finish this pottle, so I'm going to make the most of it. It's not the smoothest consistency anymore. It probably has had a little too much air get to it. It's the very end of the pottle, but that's okay. We will use it, we will make do, and it will be great. So I'm just have a little portion, sort of a corner of the Brush Hex design here. Then I'm going to save that paste that's on my little scraper there, and then I'm going to put that into some warm water just off to the side so that I can clean it later. If it's in the warm water, I find most of it pretty much comes off. I don't have to, scrub or anything like that, but it will set hard and be very tricky to get off if you let it sit on your stencil, so make sure you put it into a little bit of water at least. At the very least, wrap it in maybe a damp towel and put some water on it if you don't put it into a tub of water, or just go and wash it off straight away. But when we're in the crafting mode, so I'm going to use the very last bit of it here, and yeah, you can see it's not the smoothest, but this is going to work out just fine. It'll be okay. We have faith that this is going to be okay. I am going to scrape this down. I let the hexagon paste dry for about I don't know, maybe less than 10 minutes, maybe 5 to 6 minutes. So it is just sort of dry to the very light touch. That's why I'm able to lay my other stencil on top of it without fully damaging it, but it definitely needs to dry properly. So you can see one is almost partially dry there and one sort of more whiter. That will go completely transparent once this is completely dry. Whilst I'm going to put that to the side and we want everything to dry there, we're going to work on some of our focal points. Now I'm going to keep this really simple because the background is obviously what we want to be able to see. It's stunning, it's bright, it's beautiful, and we love it. I'm going to create a very simple circle frame, which using the Hero Arts Infinity Circle die set or any circle stacking dies, this is going to be super simple. I am just going to put these down on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of paper, and this gives me a good idea of how big the circle, I don't want to make it too big because some of these would go off the page, but I want to have the whole circle on the page. So I'm just making sure that it's going to fit as I need it to. And if you want a wider frame, obviously skip one of the sets and then go every second size, but I want it to be a really delicate small frame, so I'm just going to make this the sizes that are right beside each other in the stacking set. I take one of them, put some mint tape sticky side up, and at the moment the cutting blades are face up as well. And then this is where I can kind of adjust this one around. Once I think I have it in the right place, I just push down on those 2 blue pieces of mint tape, and that way I have a nice, even, perfect frame, and I can go ahead and die cut as many as I need, and the frame is going to stay exactly the same. So just in case you want to stack up multiple frames, then this is a really easy way that you can run it through and get lots of the same frame, and nothing's going to end up wonky. I run it through my die cutting machine. I just have a Sizzix Big Shot and I absolutely love it. I used to have a Cuttlebug before this, and I had that for all of my years. I absolutely loved it, and then I got this one maybe up to a couple of years ago now, and I really like this too. So once I have my little circle frame, I'm going to put that one off to the side. I have this beautiful little stamp set here. This is an older stamp called the Mini Floral Wonder, and I absolutely love this stamp. I've used it so many times. It's small. I love the Woodware stamps. They seem to have a really good price point for photopolymer stamps, and so I'm going to stamp this gorgeous one out, put it with some clear embossing powder, because we are actually not going to colour this at all, because all of the colour in this today's card is going to be in the background, which is absolutely all we need. This does have those little solid, sort of that sprig of something coming out the side there, as well as those 2 leaves. I'm actually going to cut those off just because I cannot fussy cut those, and because of the texture that we have added to the background, I don't feel like I could stamp them very successfully either. So I'm happy to leave them off. The couple of leaves are going to be just perfect, and it's going to work in really well with our little frame that we're going to use too. So you could always do this separate. If you don't have them together, then by all means stamp out a flower, and then add a couple of leaves. Even if you want to die cut a flower, that would look stunning, and then die cut a couple of leaves, that will look perfect too. So just whatever you have in your stash. As usual, when I am fussy cutting around an image that I have stamped in black, I'm always going to go around it with a black marker pen, because that makes my fussy cutting look much better than it actually is. Then of course I have my black and white paper rose sentiments here. Now, to be honest, I am looking for one that's going to fit what I need and I want this one to stretch right across the circle. The circle frame that I have created, I want the sentiment to go right across. So I was looking for one that was going to be longer, and there is an extremely good range of sentiments in these paper pads. The Paper Rose All Occasions and the Paper Rose Black and White sentiments are just absolutely priceless. They are such a good price point, and I highly recommend them. If they're not on your Christmas wish list or you don't have them already, then that would be one that I would most recommend. Then I'm just going to take my guillotine trimmer and just trim this down just a little bit. Now at the moment, this is all completely dry. So all of the texture paste is dry, and you can see it's pretty transparent. It's done a pretty good job, I would say. But in my opinion, at the moment, I can just see my ink blending. That's really what I see when I look at this image. So we are going to change that. So as we said earlier, we are going to get a bit more contrast. I'm going to add a fairly decent amount of water on top of this. Now, If you want to sort of go straight away, then come in and just take off bit by bit of ink until you know how much you want to take away. If you want more to come off, then the longer you leave it, the more the color is going to soak off. I think the blue and the purple have worked really, really well. The darker colors always work really well, and the lighter ones, it's just when you have them side by side for comparison that you see the difference. But sometimes you have to wait a little bit longer, especially for that orange and that yellow. But these colors are absolutely beautiful. Now I know you can still see the ink blending. It's partially because I've used a really dark color, but just hold on. I promise this is going to get much, much better. So I love this background. I love the resist, and this is full of texture. When you run your hand across this, this has some really, really good texture, and that's what I wanted for this card. I haven't done this technique in such a long time, and it was really, really fun. Obviously in a long time, because my transparent texture paste was, definitely needing used up. So I'm going to put this onto a white card base. The card base is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I just took a hair really off each side of the card front that I had made, just so it would fit on nicely. And then it's time to put everything together. As I said, I wanted the sentiment to stretch right across the circle, so that's going to work perfectly here. Then I will put a little bit of glue on each side just so that this cannot move around. I will add glue all around the back of it as well, but I just want to make sure that everything is perfectly secure. Cut off those little ends just behind the circle. I sort of bend them back a little bit so I can get a really nice clean cut there. And then I will use some liquid glue to put this down onto my project. I will put something like an acrylic block or something heavy on it, just because of all that texture that we have created behind there. We want to make sure that everything is going to have a chance to dry on that texture paste. But as I think this has dried more and more, that background has become absolutely beautiful. It does look like the lace. I really, really like it. So I have got my acrylic block, which was a little bit dirty. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't on the other side and going to get my project dirty. Then I will add in our flower, of course, and all of that beautiful contrast between the color and the black and the white is stunning. I hope you have enjoyed revisiting this technique today. I am really liking this. I may even go ahead and invest in another bottle of the transparent texture paste, although there are lots of alternatives. As I said, the matte medium would work pretty much the same. I'm not sure about the height, whether it would keep its height in particular when it dries, but we can always experiment with it, can't we? Thank you so much for joining me, and I truly look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you then. Thanks, bye.